Probably not, but I might have cracked the code.
Oh, yeah. All right. Answer by guess. Whoa. Look at that hair, fancy.
It's like I have a toupee.
What up there, guess? Answers by guess. ABG3P here for week 16, man. Holy moly. We are in the playoffs. We are in the thick of things. I lost in the most important league, bro. Fantasized me. I went down. I wanted to play Addison. We talked about it a minute before. I went to go change it. It was too late. I went to pick up Noah Brown because my competitor had Tyreek Hill, wasn't paying attention, went to go pick him up. He just had picked him up. Couldn't block there. And I played Dallas defense, which that was horrible. So I digress. I made it in two other ones. Still an ABG, at least.
Well, I wish you good luck. I'm just looking to win every consolation tournament I can get my hands on this year.
Do it, brother. Do it. All right, I'm going to go into the spiel. We are the Inside Scoop from Outside the Box. Remember to always like us on Facebook, YouTube, TikTok, Patreon, and Spotify. Always look for those hashtags, answers by guess, ABGFF and ABG3P. All right, guys, that merch always available. $25 for a t-shirt, $45 for a hoodie. Oh, twinning. Oh, hit him with it. Oh, hit him with it. All right, that is shipped. Do we want to jump right into the ABG3P? Or do you want to talk about the game on Thursday a little bit?
Yeah, a couple things. Thursday game, I was really feeling Puka. It was the quintessential epitome of the ebb and flow. Going into it, you had Cooper having two really solid games. The Saints defense had been playing pretty well, but against inferior opponents. The Rams offense was killing it the past few weeks. Stafford's been on a roll. They're at home. And I said, if the Saints are going to focus on somebody, they're probably going to focus on Cooper Kupp. Now, Cooper Kupp could have had at least one or two touchdowns in this one. But I just had a feeling Puka. A couple people were going to sit him. I told them to play Puka. I believe that they all did. So congrats to them. I was 1-1 last night. I took the over, hit the over. But I also took a Taysom Hill prop, and I don't know what happened with him. It felt like that would be an ebb and flow situation. 2 carries, and he was never back in the game. I think maybe he re-aggravated something. Nothing's come out about it, but to have the offense not moving the ball and not have him in the game, something had to be up. They did move it late. T. Perry got touched on. Now, the one thing that I wanted to talk about in the intro, if you were watching, I think I might have cracked the code. And I don't want to spend too long on this, because we do have a lot to get through. We got a ton of questions. Thank you for those. If you're here, I see a couple people are watching. Please comment. Please like. Please share. Come on, help us beat this algorithm. But I said a couple weeks ago when I knew I was out of the playoffs in all 6 of my leagues, I said, it's my halftime adjustment. I've got to figure out what the hell is going on. And I don't think it was any fault of my own, really. But some of the blame has to fall on me for sure. So I spent the last 2 days actually, while I was at work on my breaks and the time after the kids went to bed, looking through stuff. And I looked back at stats for the last 3 years. Went back to 2021, so 21, 22, and then this year. And last year it sort of started to happen. With quarterbacks. And last year we were like, if you don't have the first couple quarterbacks, you're going to be in some serious trouble. This year, I think the biggest issue from what I saw, who basically runs the show? Who dictates what happens in a football game for teams? It's the quarterback. And this year, 2023, when compared to at least the last 2 seasons, quarterback play is down. way down. And we all know that because we're seeing it in our fantasy lineups. And if quarterback play is down, wide receiver play goes down. And if quarterbacks can't help to move the ball, running backs go down. Now, on top of that, we got 75 different running backs that are viable any given week. So I think I started to look, but one thing that caught my eye when I was looking at this year in particular, if I were to say to you, Rob, and anybody else that's watching, Patrick Mahomes this year, um, has he met your expectations, or has he been below, or has he exceeded them?
I think below because of a lot of the drops and a lot of the issues they had with not being able to score in second halves of games. But I haven't been looking at the stats directly like that.
Right. And I would agree. And I think most people, especially people that drafted Patrick Mahomes, would agree. On the surface, you say he's having a below standard season. Would you know that he's top five in just about every important category, top 3 and 4 of the most important categories? And I believe first, I want to say passing yards, if I remember correctly. And that sort of speaks volume of it all. Because if Patrick Mahomes is having a down season, and at one point Russell Wilson was outplaying him, but he's at the top or towards the top, maybe not passing yards somewhere. It was something he was first in. That sort of says it all right there. Quarterbacks are stinking it up, and it's ruining the offenses, and we're not getting the type of fantasy production. On top of all that, I didn't look too much further after once I started digging into quarterbacks. But I mean, you look at who's the first and second round picks, guys you picked up. Most of them stink. Any given week, stink. If they're not hurt, they're not even doing well most weeks. But you have to put them in your lineups, and it's guys that are popping out of nowhere, and you're just hoping to itch and get by. So I'm hoping this adjusts next year. Now, one of the problems with quarterbacks this year is all the injuries. So we're playing with tons of backups out there, and that's changing things as well. So this is just the beginning. I'm at the tip of the iceberg, but I promised myself and the ABG family that I'm going to start looking into some stuff, because this year has been like no other. And I say it again, like, I listen to a lot of stuff. I watch a lot of podcasts. I rewatch games, and I'm listening to what the pros are saying. And they are getting things wrong. And our standards I talked about a couple weeks ago have not been met either. We always fancied ourselves better than them. And most people attested to that in our reviews that they've given us on Facebook. But everybody's. I said I had a show lined up for Answers with Guests on Tuesday, but I couldn't do it. Holidays, shopping, and getting everything together. And I'm sorry I couldn't make it. But the theme of it was, what are we supposed to do? Derrick Henry against the Texans, 6 yards. What are we supposed to do?
Well, like 12 carries, dude.
Saquon Barkley had like 9 carries. What are we supposed to do? That was a kill game. He should have murdered in that. But they felt like, DeVito is they wanted to showcase DeVito, and that didn't work. And those are just 2 of them. But there was like 5. Bijan. What are we supposed to do? You're using Algier. You're not using Bijan. You're going against one of the worst rushing defenses in the rain. What are we supposed to do when these teams are not doing what they're supposed to do? So it is what it is. One thing that I did also notice when I was looking at stats, and then we can get going, Rob, because I know you probably want to get to what you got to do, and I'm sorry.
No worries, man. No, there's good information here, man.
Trevor Lawrence. Because I went back to 2021. Trevor Lawrence in his career, these 3 seasons. You want to know who his stats are exact? Almost exact to? Daniel Jones.
Danny Dimes. Oh, shit.
Yeah.
Oh, sorry. Excuse my language.
Unbelievable.
Yeah, that's
Like
crazy.
almost to the yard, to the QBR, to all of it. Touchdowns, interceptions. He's Daniel Jones.
It's crazy how the narrative is just so different.
It's I could not believe it. So it's like this is something I never really dug too deep into.
Yeah.
I'm going to start doing this because I saw some things that were pretty eye popping. And if you think about it, what has Trevor Lawrence really done? He's a disappointment this year.
Yeah. He hasn't been
So
playing great, man. Couple good
when
games,
you,
but
when you dig deep into these, I found some things that were eye opening. I was just like, wow. And then you think about it, you're like, okay, I guess, yeah, he is kind of Daniel Jones, isn't he?
that's
Yeah,
interesting. Yeah. They
yeah,
both run pretty well as well. Yeah, they're very
yeah.
similar. That's guys, the inside scoop from outside the box. Guess is going to be giving you some more information like that. So make sure you're tuning in. All right. Let's go into it. ABG3P propositions, preparations, and our preferences on NFL Week 16. Give you some prop bets to be able to go through these games. All right. Cincinnati Bengals at Pittsburgh Steelers. This is a Saturday game at 4:30. Over under Tanner Hudson, 29.5 receiving yards. Chase is out. Obviously, Boyd probably goes up. Higgins goes up. But you know what? Browning's been looking to Hudson, man. What do you think?
Yeah, yeah, he has. I have a feeling about this game. I think Pittsburgh's going to win.
Okay.
I think Browning going on the road. If you look at Browning's stats over the past few weeks, they've sort of gone down. His
Mhm.
scoring, fantasy scoring's gone down since that first one where he popped off, and people are like, okay, Jake Browning. And I think the Steelers defense are a little banged up in the safeties. But they don't have Jamar Chase to take advantage of that. Last week he had those 2 touchdowns with T. Higgins. I mean, kind of Hail Mary chuckums for the most part. And I think the Pittsburgh defense is just a little bit better. And at home, this is a must win for Pittsburgh. I think that they're going to get him in this one. I think this one's going to be more of a slow, dragged out, running, involved type of game. I don't really like the receiving aspects. I know people are going to want to be all over Higgins because of last week's blow up. And because there's no Chase, I actually would prefer Boyd. I know Darko, he's already come in because he's a Bengals homer, and that's fine. I do think Pittsburgh wins this one. But Tanner Hudson, 30 yards. Let's go over. A low enough number. Irv Smith is a carcass.
Yeah, dude, I don't know. I had such high hopes in Irv Smith. I had so many of his autos too.
He's just too many injuries early on in his career. He's just never came past him.
All right, so they're making another QB change. Mason Rudolph over under 190.5. Based on what you were just saying, it doesn't sound like it's going to be a lot of throwing in this game. I think the weather, if I'm not mistaken, isn't going to be the greatest either. What do you think?
Yeah, I'm gonna go under here. A little bit easier to throw. The Bengals are gonna have issues covering Pat Fryermuth. They stunk against tight ends, especially over the past, I would say, 6 games. Darko, let me know if I'm wrong with that. I'm not trusting Deontay. I think that you're going to get a lot of Warren and a lot of Najee in this one. They're not going to want Rudolph to make mistakes. I think Pittsburgh's going to win the ball, controlling it, and just playing tough defense. So I'm going under for Mason Rudolph.
All right, let's go on to the next one here. Another Saturday night game now. Over under Mr. James Cook, 23.5 receiving yards. Destroyed it on the ground last week, but only had 40-something receiving yards, only threw to him a couple times. That's why I kind of went with this angle compared to, putting total yards or rushing yards. Sorry.
I must say you are getting rather good at this, and I like that you put Cook on here because it gives me a chance to talk about him exclusively. People might have had him on the bench last week, and now they want to insert him in the lineup. Listen, the Bills should run away with this game. Should. I would love to see Easton Stick play like he did in the second half, but he did it in the second half when the defense didn't really give a damn. I don't think that the Chargers are going to be able to do too much. No Keenan Allen again um, against the Bills, and I think the Bills are going to be able to build a lead quick. And I think that they realize James Cook is an integral part of this team, and they're making this playoff push. And even if he's a little banged up, we are not going to push him too far because we got Lat Murray there that we can use if we have to grind out this game. And I feel like if they get up by a couple scores, their defense is playing better somehow. Um, I don't think he goes over this number because I don't think they overuse him in that capacity. I think that he, when he's on the field, can just run all over the Chargers. I don't know if they'll need to use him in the passing game. It's a small number, but I'm going to say under.
All right, I like it. I like it a lot there, sir. All right, on to the next side. We were talking about Keenan Allen being out. Everybody's favorite pickup this week, Joshua Palmer, 3.5 receptions over under. Again, with Keenan Allen out, you talk about your boy Easton Stick. Could this be possibly them moving the ball? Could he be the guy?
Yeah, receptions, because of that, I'm going to say over because I do think, like I said, the Bills will be able to do whatever they want on offense. The Chargers are going to have to throw to keep up. But I don't know if he's an automatic start, Palmer. There's going to be garbage time in the catch up. But like I said, the Bills' corners are playing a little bit better. They can move Palmer all over the field. But you look at his stat line and you're like, oh, 100 and something and a touchdown. Well, 79 yards of that came on a play again where the defense wasn't even, they didn't even care. They were up by 40. The Bills are going to care. He'll catch them because he is the best option they have. And I think he'll get the 4 receptions. I think this right here, if this is the actual Vegas line, I think this is something that you take safely. I would imagine it's probably got to be like minus 150.
I think it was. Yeah, minus 150 sounds right.
Yeah, I can't imagine that the juice is low on this because I think he can get to that.
I agree.
Just volume alone.
This was one of the choices today on Friday afternoon. So interesting. All right, damn. Maybe I should go on my phone now. All right, Detroit Lions at the Minnesota Vikings. First Sunday game here. Sam Laporta, yes or no? Will he get a touchdown this game? Had 3 obviously last week. Huge game for him. But against this Minnesota Vikings defense, man, they've been playing pretty well. What do you think?
They have. Again, last week they gave up those couple big ones to T. I really like how they're using JMO, getting him involved, using him and getting him into space. And Amon-Ra came back last week after disappearing for almost a month, it seemed.
Yeah.
I think he'll get a touchdown. It's tough because when they get close, we know that they like to use Montgomery, and last week it was Gibbs. But because the Vikings defense is a little tougher, I think they might need to throw to get in. And if they get close, I think Laporta can get one. Yes.
All right. Yes for that. All right, flip side of the ball. Your boy, you told a lot of people to start him last week. Over under Mr. Ty Chandler's 16.5 total touches. Sounds like Madison isn't practicing. This was something that was out there. I thought it was kind of low, especially if Madison doesn't go. What do you think?
Yeah, if he doesn't go, I think the touches, because that's what, 12 rushes, 5 receptions. They used him in the passing game, which
he was a 3-down back, dude.
Yeah, which was very smart of them because that's who he is, really, more than in between the tackles, early down runner. But he did just fine doing that last week as well. So 12 carries and 5 receptions, even if it's 13 and 4, I think he could do this if Madison doesn't go for sure. So let's go over.
All right. Next game on the list here. Washington Commanders at my New York Jets. Over under your boy Curtis Samuel, 36.5 receiving yards. Sounds like Howell is again the starter here. Brissett looked better. Terry McLaurin got me some points last week, but obviously Curtis Samuel had the touchdowns. What are you thinking?
This one's going to be the issue, right? Because you got the two guys on the outside. That's going to be McLaurin and Dotson, you would think. So you got Samuel in the slot. Washington wants to throw. There's no Robinson, so it's going to be CJ again, mixing in a little bit of Gibson. But they're playing the Jets, and how well will the offense be able to move the ball? This is ridiculous because it's the worst defense and the worst offense going against each other. So will the Jets actually be able to move the ball? I hope and pray that Mr. Zach, but it doesn't seem like it's going to be. It's going to be Simeon. And I just don't know if Washington can stop much of anything or if they even want to anymore. And just based on the matchup, and he's a slot guy, let's go over. Let's go over and just hope he gets this in one.
I think he could get it in one. Yeah. And you know, what's funny is that obviously the secondary for the Jets is fantastic. I mean, the corners are the best in the game right now. But Curtis Samuel always has our number for some reason. Whenever he plays against the Jets, he's always a good play. So, all right, flip side of the ball. We talked about Trevor Siemian being the quarterback, but Tyler Conklin, 6.5 fantasy points, half PPR. What do you think? Over or under? Again, it's Siemian throwing the ball. Who's going to throw it to? I guess the tight end, right?
Well, he gets 3 catches every game, so he needs to get 50 yards or a touchdown to hit this number. I mean, all they really have is Garrett Wilson. And this was another one. What are we supposed to do? Why were they not using Breece Hall?
It's the Jets, dude. Nobody understands what the hell the Jets are doing.
Throw him the ball, get him in space, right? You got to move the ball down the field.
Look what they did the week before when they did that. I don't
understand. What were we supposed to do? Last week was so bizarre. Let's go over because, they want to get Ruckert more involved. It seemed like they were, but they're not. Maybe Siemian has a better connection with Ruckert, being the practice squad second string guy ever since. So let's go over. This game's going to be an interesting one. Is it weird to say that I'm not excited to watch it, but this is one that I would like to see something happen because it's just so strange.
You want to hear something funny?
Yeah.
I was looking at tickets for this game because the lower level has dropped down to like $35, dude. It's supposed to be like 45 degrees. It's a little chilly for Sandy and the boys.
Christmas Eve.
It's Christmas Eve, exactly. Even if we go for the first half, but I thought the same thing. I feel like this is going to be a higher scoring game than people are thinking. This could be start your Jets, start your Commanders kind of thing. Obviously hesitant because we're talking about the worst defense, the worst offense, but they're still professional football teams, man. So
it's this game. This is the one this week where it's like, what?
Yeah, exactly.
What? No clue because the Commanders should be able to move the ball because that's what they just chuck it all over. But you can't do that in the Jets, and the Jets can't move the ball. But Washington can't stop anybody. This is going to be the most interesting game of the week. I think.
Yeah, if it was Zach, I would feel a lot more confident in the Jets.
I would love it.
But all right, next game here. Your Green Bay Packers at the Carolina Panthers. Over under Mr. Jordan Love, 1.5 passing touchdowns against this Carolina defense that played okay last week. They won the game. I don't know if you saw that meme that came out. Tickets were going for 45 cents to go to the Carolina Atlanta game last week. That's how crazy it was.
Rain, maybe?
No, it was pouring. It was horrible conditions out there. Don't get me wrong, but 45 cents, bro, that is crazy. All right, but anyways, Green Bay Packers, go for it.
Yeah, it's interesting because a couple things here. One, you saw Bryce Young look much better last week, which he never even should have had the chance to do this. Atlanta, what are you doing, Desmond Ritter, running across the field? You're in field goal range to go up by 4, and you chuck it across the field to the middle, nowhere near a wide receiver. You had a guy wide open in the middle. You were nowhere near him. Interception. You could have went up for it. I don't think Carolina scores a touchdown and wins that game. I think they end up having to go for it on 4th down, and Atlanta wins. They blew it, and that's what are we supposed to do? But Bryce Young did look better, and Green Bay Packers defense is terrible. Like I called a few weeks ago, I was like, I'm still not trusting the defense, and we've seen it. Baker, my boy, last week sliced him up.
Amazing, bro.
So you would think that Bryce Young's going to do pretty well in this one. I don't know who you're going to pick for Carolina, but I got a feeling Adam Thielen's going to have a game. He's a Green Bay killer his entire life. So I kind of feel like Carolina is going to be able to do something. Chuba's been killing it. He's getting over 20 carries a game.
I thank God every day that you dropped him in ABG.
Yeah, I had to. I had to. Anyways, the other thing that you have going is Green Bay. The talk was to fire Joe Barry, and now he knows he's on the hot seat, and you're playing against the worst team in the league. Your defense better step up. So is the defense going to step up, or are they going to lay down because they want him out of there? So this is an interesting one. Would not surprise me if Carolina somehow pulled this one out, but I don't know if they do. And I kind of feel more along the lines of the team's going to rally around to try and keep Joe Barry there, and the defense is going to try and play better. Green Bay is going to try. It's much easier to run against Carolina. And Jaden Reed might not play.
Yep.
I'm going to go under because I think that Aaron Jones is much healthier. They're not going to have Dylan, but they'll use Taylor in there. I think that they're going to try and run because you can run on Carolina. I think that they're going to try and be a little more smart. They let Baker onto the field too much last week, and he just sliced him up. I think they're going to try and slow this one down a little.
Baker looked fantastic last week. And you read my mind, obviously. You know me very well. Over under Adam Thielen, 9.5 fantasy points.
You didn't give it away. You got a good poker face.
I say thank you. I was trying to be like, don't say anything, Rob.
Yeah, I'm gonna go over here. I think that I have full PPR as well. I think this could be one of those games where he's at 7 catches by halftime. I think Adam Thielen's he's just always been a Packer killer, and I think they're going to rely on him in this one.
All right, let's get through some more games here. Cleveland at Houston Texans, over under Mr. Joe Flacco, 244 and a half. 244 and a half passing yards. Everybody's favorite pickup of the week, I feel like. Everyone's like, I need a quarterback. I got to go after Joe Flacco. I don't think I would have ever heard that again, but what do you think?
He sucked for a half.
Yeah,
and all of a sudden he turned it on. Njoku has been a godsend for him. He's completely flipped the script this year once he came back. He was hurt for a little bit, I think, and he came back and he's just been killing it. Houston's back's against the wall here. Case Keenum, what can he do? Brown's got that tough defense. Texas defense isn't terrible either. I'm going to go under. I'm going to go under 244. I think that they are able to limit the Texans moving the ball in ways that they couldn't last week against the Bears. And I don't think he's going to need to throw too much.
All right. Flip side of the ball here. Over under Mr. Dalton Schultz, 31 and a half. You said it's Case Keenum. Sounds like Nico Collins is coming back, going to be healthy this week. Noah Brown went off last week. What do you think?
We'll do a quick one. I'm going to go over on Schultz, 31 and a half.
All right. Let's take a couple comments here.
Okay.
I remember, guys, always like, comment, and share. We appreciate every single one of you. Like you said before, Darko, no Minka, Bengals will win by double digits, and he thinks a lot is going to move. Hey there, Vito. How are you there? Make sure you subscribe, bud. In full point PPR, pick 3, Brees, Zeke, Chandler, Taylor, Cooper, London, and Godwin.
It should be Brees, um, and
Yeah.
and I'm fine with Taylor. Um, it's tough against the Falcons, but they're going to want to play that game. The problem with Brees is what we talked about, Vito. I'm not sure if you, like last week, it should have been they should have used him so much more like they did 2 weeks ago. They did not, but I'm definitely playing Brees against Washington. Zeke's another one where I think that you kind of have to and hope for the Sunday night magic. Um, they're going to be trying. There's might be a little bit of weather in that one. Um, if it's snow, the footing, but he's getting the passes. I might go with Brees, Zeke, and Taylor, to be honest, because I just can't trust. I just can't trust them getting the ball to Drake London at this point. I don't think the Browns are going to have to throw too much, and Godwin's been killing it. Um, but if we haven't gotten to that game yet, but if Lawrence doesn't play, you can pass all over the Jags, but how much are they really going to do that? I'm sure they have no problem just giving the ball to Rashad White. So I'm going to go with Brees, Zeke, and Taylor. Um, I think that they have the chance to have the most volume out of all of these guys, and that's what I'm going for, especially this time of year.
Yeah, volume call. I agree. Brees should be used. Chandler is very close for me as well, to be honest with you.
He is, but the Detroit defense is tough. That's my
It's
only
tough.
thing.
Yeah.
And if the Detroit offense keeps going, they're in a dome. Goff loves the domes. He loves the turf. And if that offense keeps going, I know that Chandler, they used him in the passing game last week, but I think the Detroit defense sort of got it together a little bit. So that's why I would go Taylor, Zeke, Brees. But you're right. I would shy away from the wide receivers. I'm not sure if it's the smartest thing to do. But I just can't trust them getting the ball to London as much as they should. They don't use London. They don't use Pitts. They don't use Bijan the way they should. They want to get uh, Mac Hollins and 36-year-old Cordero Patterson touches. It's absolutely ridiculous. And I think that I'm going to pivot from Godwin's hot streak because I think that if it's not Trevor Lawrence, then they don't
Be
need to
White all
really
game.
be throwing the ball too much.
All right,
Hopefully
Nate,
that
with a quick one
helps.
here, then we'll go back into some games. Stick with Garrett Wilson or hit the wire. Only other receivers are broken Packers.
Just
I would stick with Garrett
stick with
Wilson.
Wilson going against Washington. Why not?
I agree. All right. Indianapolis Colts at the Atlanta Falcons. Over under Jonathan Taylor, 58.5 rushing yards. Seems to be coming back. I see a lot of people asking about dropping Moss. I wouldn't do that personally. But
No,
what does Taylor bring back to the table here for the Colts?
I'm gonna go. I'm gonna go over here. Once they started using him, he was over this number quite easily for 2-3 games. And if Zach Moss isn't playing, I'm not really too worried about Trey Sermon or Goodson. Those guys did what Moss should have done last week. Moss wasn't even hurt really, and
Yeah.
this week came out wasn't even hurt, but now he's hurt. It's going to be the Taylor show, and he's going to get over this number.
All right. Flip side of the ball here. Tyler Heineke is now the quarterback for the Atlanta Falcons. Again, 220.5 passing and rushing yards altogether. Do they move the ball against this Indianapolis Colts defense that I don't know what to think about them, to be honest with you? Some weeks they're great. Some weeks I'm like, I'm not 100% sure, but they've been playing pretty good, man.
I told you what it was. I told everybody it answered, I guess. The Colts defense at home is a very, very solid unit. On the road, not so much. I do think that the Falcons and Artie Boy Smith hears the cries. I think you get a nice Bijan game this week. I think they're going to maybe a little bit overuse him. So I'm going to go under with Heineke because there's been a lot of talk, and rightly so, about them not using Bijan last week and really as much as they should throughout the season. So I think they're going to lean on him. And I think at home, he's going to be a little pissed off, and he can run on this Colts defense on the road. So I'm going to go under for Heineke.
All right. Next game here. Seattle Seahawks at the Tennessee Titans. Over under DK Metcalf, 11.5 fantasy points. Half PPR. Sounds like Geno Smith is coming back. Tyler Lockett's been playing good, and Jigba has been playing great. Drew Lock, dude, that speech, dude, you sent to me, it was emotional. I felt that kid. I was like, man, he was so spot on. But DK was a big part of that too, cheering the kid up, telling him, keep on doing what you're doing. What do you think?
I hope Levis can go. If it's not Levis, it's got to be my boy Malik.
I would think so.
Because it's not Tannehill, go back to Tannehill? Maybe it'll be Tannehill. Is he back? I think was he activated? Okay. So maybe it's him. I think the Titans at home, I've talked about this, they're a much better team than they are on the road. So I think that their offense can be able to move the ball. The Seahawks, we talked a lot about the Bears weeks ago. We said, I think this is a defense that's really starting to pick up. We've seen it. I said, this is somebody you need to target next year. Scott, who just joined us, said, how about this year? And we agreed, yeah, this year. And I think the Seahawks are another one that next year, I think them and the Bears are going to be two of those sleeper defenses. But I think the Titans will be able to move the ball. I think Derrick Henry, he sort of had like his retirement speech at the end of the game last week. He said, it's been a great career in Tennessee. It's almost like he's retiring or something.
He knows he's not coming back, man.
Yeah. So I think maybe they try and get Tajay Spears a little more involved to see if he's going to be the guy of the future, because they know that it's not going to be Henry next year. So I think the Titans are going to be able to move the ball, even though I do like the Seahawks defense next year. I think that they're a very underrated unit at this point. We saw it the other night. But I'm going to go over on this number because I think the Titans will be able to move the ball, and I think the Seahawks are going to not so much keep up with them, but stay involved this whole game.
All right, and it looks like Tannehill is taking first reps, so he would be the one.
And that's not a bad thing.
It's not, which brings me to my next person. Before Treylon Burks got hurt in a couple games, him and Tannehill actually looked okay on the deep ball. What are you thinking? 3.5 receptions against the Seattle defense that leaving Jamal Adams at home makes them a lot better. What do you think?
I want this to be over. I want Treylon Burks to be like he was his rookie year. He's just not getting enough targets. I feel like if this was yardage, I might take it. He's also banged up, right? Who even knows if he's going to play? I'm going to go under, Rob.
All right. Next game here, Jacksonville Jaguars at the Tampa Bay Bucks. Over under Travis Etienne, 86.5 total yards. Didn't have the greatest of games last week. Touchdown helped him. But again, this Jaguars, if they're without Trevor Lawrence, do they rely on Etienne more now?
I just want to check real quick. Is Vita back? Full practice yesterday. Yeah, if it's not Lawrence, I got no problem with an under here because Tampa Bay will just be able to just stack the box and do whatever they got to do because they're not going to be too worried about Mr. Beathard. And there's no Zay Jones. I think he's out. I'm going to go under for ETN. Sadly, I think we're hitting a little bit of sort of what we saw last year with ETN. I'm going to go under on the 86.5 total. They're working in D'Ernest. Vita Vea's back's going to be tough to go up the gut, especially for a
ETN's not, it's not big, man.
diminutive guy like him. Yeah.
Yeah, Zay Jones is questionable. Just to give you a heads up. Not sure if he's going to play or not. All right, flip side of the ball. You talked about him before. He was one of the choices for one of the questions. Chris Godwin, over under 57.5 receiving yards against, again, if this Trevor Lawrence doesn't play, are they going to really need to throw the ball that much?
Yeah, this seems like quite a low number when you look at what he's been doing the past couple of weeks, but I'm going to go under. I think that it's going to shift back, and I think that at home, possibly against a backup quarterback, that they could just lean on Rachaad White in this one, and not have to really feel like they have to do too much, especially now that they're winning the division. Let's not overdo it with our older wide receivers, Godwin and Evans. They got tons of rookies there that we talked about in the preseason. 5 guys for your eyes. Get them a little burn if need be. I'm going to go under here. I think Godwin might disappoint a little this week. I could be wrong, but we'll find out.
All right, next game here. Dallas Cowboys at the Miami Dolphins. Over under Tony Pollard, 54.5 rushing yards. A lot of people down on Pollard. I see, am I benching Pollard? Am I benching Pollard? If you're in the playoffs, what are you telling these people? Is he going to actually have a little bit of a bounce back game here?
The 2 teams that can't beat anybody good, right?
Yep.
That's what everybody says. So unless it ends in a tie, somebody's wrong. And but Tyreek's going to play, I think. And Miami being at home is certainly going to help. And I think that this offense is going to be able to do just fine. And I don't know if Dallas running the ball, especially with just Pollard. I think Rico is banged up, if I'm not mistaken.
I think he was questionable as well, yeah.
I'm going to go under here. I'm going to go under on the rushing. If it was total yards at like 85 or so, I might say over. Because it might be like a 50-30, 40-40.
Dowdle is full participant.
Okay, yeah, so I'm under. I'm under.
All right, flip side of the ball, Mr. Raheem Mostert. Will he score a touchdown like he has every single game, it seems like?
He falls in. They get fortunate. They get a PI in the end zone or right near it, or they get tackled at the 1. And he's having the Jamal Williams, type season where it's just opportunistic, and this answer is yes. Yes, because they will get a PI or something that puts him at the 1 where he will punch it in.
All right, next game here, Arizona Cardinals and Chicago Bears. Over under James Conner, 13.5 rushing attempts. Coming back off the bye, seemed to play better because he actually had less touches. What are you thinking here?
Yeah, they got DeMarcado involved a little bit last week. Michael Carter was doing sort of exactly what I thought he would do. 13.5. I think that the Bears offense is going to be able to do kind of whatever they want in this one. I think whatever running back they choose. I think DJ Moore is going to have a really nice game. After last week with Mooney being healthy, it wouldn't surprise me if he pops off. Cole Kmet can't take him out of it. Cardinals defense is terrible, especially against a tight end. So I think that the Cardinals are going to have to keep up. And 13.5 rushing attempts, that's kind of right at his number. I mean, without looking, if I were to guess, I'd probably say he's been somewhere around 12.
Yeah, I think he had 14 last week and maybe 9 or 10 the week before.
All right, so maybe that's like an average. I'm going to say under, Rob.
All right.
I think that the Bears offense, I'm interested to see that now.
All right. While you're looking that up,
yeah.
You just said Arizona is not good against the tight end, so I figured I'd throw Cole Kmet, 4.5 receptions against this Arizona team that, again, can't stop anybody, it seems like. Fields, I need him to have a day. He is my dynasty quarterback, and I need a win. So what do you think?
I was off on Connor because he actually had against Pitt week 13, 25 rushes.
Hui.
I think that was his big blow up game. That was his best game of the year. 2 touchdowns, 105. They completely dominated Pittsburgh. That was the one where that was embarrassing to Pittsburgh. If I'm not mistaken, I think that's maybe where Pickett got hurt early on.
And that's where Dobbs was playing really well too, right? That was right before he got traded.
No, that was week 13.
Oh, really? That was.
Yeah,
Oh, okay. My bad.
yeah. Yeah. Anyways, Komet 4.5. Yeah, over. Let's move it along.
All right. Let's
I'm
get.
dragging it out too long.
All right. Sunday night football here. New England Patriots at the Denver Broncos. Hunter Henry, 5.5 targets. Bailey Zappi seems to be liking to go to his tight end here.
And he's banged up too, right?
He is. Everybody's banged up, dude. It's that time of the year. But it seems like it's always been that time of the year, this whole entire season, if you think about it.
I'm going to go under.
All right. Flip side here, Jerry Jeudy showed up last week. Over under 37.5 receiving yards against this Patriots defense that usually plays pretty good, man.
Yeah.
They try to show up.
Who are they going to be looking to stop? Jeudy or Sutton? Probably Sutton.
I would think Sutton.
His receptions haven't been crazy. He's been opportunistic, getting almost a touchdown a game this year. So there might be some snow in this one, which we talked about earlier when we were talking about Zeke. I'm going to go over. Little rack yardage gets him over. He's just got to catch it. That's his problem. His hands. He was had one of the best hands I felt like coming out of college, and
this was down. I mean, last year he had no confidence because they just were horrible with Hackett. So
yeah.
All right, Las Vegas Raiders at the Kansas City Chiefs. This is your Monday afternoon 1 p.m. game. Merry Christmas. Yes or no? Michael Mayer, 1 touchdown. This Raiders exploded against the Chargers last week. Michael Mayer really wasn't that too involved, though. So what are you thinking here?
And I think he's another one that didn't practice today. I'm going to say no.
All right. Last I checked, it was questionable, but I will take a look in a sec. All right, flip side of the ball. Isaiah Pacheco, I know he's coming back. 64.5 rushing yards, over, under.
Up, over. It's nice to see CEH do something last week.
I was happy. Dude, that was a good catch in the end zone, man. That was a good catch in the end zone. All right. New York Giants at the Philadelphia Eagles. Over under Saquon Barkley, 11.5 fantasy points standard against this Eagles defense that, I don't know, they just seem to be not that great, man.
Yeah. I'm going to go over for Saquon. Again, last week, it's like, what are you doing? You could have ran all over the Saints. You chose not to even give them the ball. I think they fixed that. Over.
All right. Next one here. Over under Mr. Jalen Hurts, 1.5 turnovers.
Yeah.
Yeah, because he just every single week I lose points with him as my quarterback. Luckily, I have a pretty strong team, but man, this guy can't hold on to the ball, either fumbling or throwing interceptions.
And this offense has been sputtering. Who is the one player that they've been sort of neglecting? Any idea?
I feel like Devonta Smith hasn't really been getting the ball that much.
And he's kind of banged up now, too. Goddard.
Yeah.
I feel like they've got to get Goddard a little more involved in this one. He came back from that broken arm, and he's sort of fallen out of when they were really rolling. He was really rolling.
Oh yeah,
before that, and the ball's been slipping out of his hands. He's been fumbling, throwing picks. I'm going to go under here, though. I think he controls the ball at home. And I know Scott wanted to point out the Giants' defense. It could be something to look at next year. That is 100% correct. They have been playing better. Um, but I think Philadelphia feels the heat a little bit. I think the
They
Giants,
have to win this game, dude.
I want to say they're 13 and a half point underdogs. I would take the Giants.
Mm-hmm.
But it would not surprise me if Philly covers this. But I would take the Giants because it's a divisional game. They've been playing good enough. Um, I think that the Philly offense is going to get it together for this one, Christmas Day.
All right, last but not least, Baltimore Ravens at the San Francisco 49ers, your Monday Night Football game. Gus Edwards, 7.35 fantasy points, half PPR. This was actually a live bet out there, and I was like, man, they really got very specific on this, which makes me think, what do we not know?
Well, they're basically saying, is he going to score a touchdown?
Pretty much.
And I say, yeah. So I'm going to go over. This is the game. This is the Super Bowl preview, right?
Yeah.
You saw the conspiracy theory, right?
I have
the colors of the logo, and it makes
Didn't it just change recently or something like that? I think that they said that they put out a new logo. I agree. I think it was the purple and red that was the first one. This one now was, I think it was green and red, if I'm not mistaken, or green, yellow, and red, which makes me think KC and Philly. But again, I don't know what to think, but the conspiracy theory is there.
Yeah. I think the Niners are the best team in football.
Agreed.
But I think the Ravens win this game.
In San Francisco?
I do. And the reason I think that is because the Niners have been light years beyond anybody, and the Ravens have been squeaking out games. They're battle tested. And I think that the MVP race of Lamar and Brock, I think Lamar wants it more. And I think that he shows up and shows out in this one. And I think they win a close one. That's how I see this game going. We'll see.
I hope. I'm playing against 4 49ers in ABG League.
Oh, I'm not saying they're going to shut them down because we talked about it all season. Brock is Brock because of the big
everybody
four
around him. Oh, yeah.
If the big four are healthy, he's doing what he's doing. As soon as one of them goes down, he turns into a pumpkin. But they're all healthy. And if they stay healthy, I don't think they're going to get shut down. It's two of the best defenses as well. This game could be high 20s, easily low 30s, but I think the Ravens are going to sneak it out and maybe, game-winning field goal, Mr. Tucker, something like that. I think they are battle-tested. They win games where it's tough and gritty, and I don't know if the Niners have really had to do that yet.
All right, last but not least, you said they're going to let him move the ball. Brock Purdy, 20 and a half completions over under.
I'm going to go over because I think the Ravens are going to be able to move the ball. I think it's going to surprise a little bit for this Monday Night Football final game of the week, Super Bowl preview. So I think that he'll hit this. 22 for 27 is not out of the question. Something along those lines.
All right, let's go, guys. Questions from the group. Let's add it in. Let me adjust some things. If anybody knows a programmer, let us know. All right, first one here from Marty. Your thoughts on Nico Collins and Noah Brown against the Browns? I have a choice between Olave, which you told him to play, Waddle, Deontay Johnson, and the Houston receivers. Pick 3 out of the 5.
Well, Olave's one. I think that it's tough. I don't really like either of the Texans. And Deontay, I just have a feeling about that game just being dragged out, run type thing. I think I'm going to go Olave, Waddle, and Nico.
Yeah. Nico, yeah, he's gonna come back and do what Noah Brown did last week. I feel like I think I agree. For some reason, I feel Deontay Johnson. I feel like Rudolph and him might have the most chemistry, and he might look there. But I don't think you could bench Waddle. So, all right, next one here. All right, I'm gonna have to make this bigger.
Oh,
Okay, here's my big post. I'll post in two posts, so this is probably going to be the Spencer hour. Just give you a heads up. Start sit options, PPR Superflex. I showed my opponent as well. All right, so the top right is his starting lineup. Bottom left is his bench.
yeah, and I told him to play Puka. He said he did, so that's good. I'm just going to look at his bench. Tight end. I'm fine with Ferguson. I got a feeling they're going to try and showcase Goddard, though, but I'm fine with Ferguson. I might make that switch, but if you like Ferguson, stick with it. Jacobs looks like he's going to play, but I'm not benching Rashad White. If we get word about Jacobs playing, no, keep Aaron Jones in going against Carolina. They're going to run. Keep the lineup. Keep the lineup.
All right.
Keep it as is.
All right. So
this is it again.
This is his matchup that he has. I don't know if this weighs in anything for you of who he's playing against.
Well, there you go. So now you got to play Ferguson because he's got AJ Brown, and if Goddard scores, that helps you because that means AJ Brown's not scoring at least on that one particular play. So that's good. All right, he had Kyron going. That didn't hurt you too much. God, these are huge rosters.
They are.
Just keep an eye on, if Madison's going to play or not, because that's going to be a swap of Chandler, possibly.
Yeah, I would say Jacobs and Chandler were kind of the ones that I was looking at before. The volume might be there for Jacobs if Madison does play again. I mean, but Chandler's just like he's been playing explosively, man. He's been playing really good.
I'm gonna be honest. I think that you win this week, Spencer.
All right. Second league, start sit PPR. Remember, I have Flacco and Minshew that can start, but might just roll with who I have and play. Okay, so Lawrence, Jones, Etienne, Puka, St. Brown, Laporta, Tyreek Hill, Pittman, Aubrey, and Broncos on his bench. Yeah. Stroud's out. Pollard, Javonte Williams, Deontay, and Ferguson. Nico Collins is there as well.
I mean, you might have to end up using Minshew over Lawrence. Other than that, it's tough to see. I would just probably keep it as is.
Javonte and Aaron Jones. I can't bench Aaron Jones against Carolina. All right. Scott with any changes to his starting lineup. Left side is starting. Right side is his bench. We played Kyron and Kamara already.
Yeah, that hurt him.
Yep.
I'm just keeping it.
All right. David with a question here. I have a running back, wide receiver, and flex spot open. Who should I start? PPR, Godwin, Noah Brown, Joshua Palmer, White, CJ Rodriguez, Najee, and Darren Waller.
This is tough. I think because it's full point PPR and because Jacobs is probably going to play, if it's not Najee, I'm going to go Joshua Palmer. I just have a feeling if Trevor Lawrence plays, then it's Godwin. If Trevor Lawrence doesn't play, then I'm going to go with Palmer, I think. Just for volume, sheer volume. It's full point PPR. If he can get 6 catches, you're halfway to where you need to be, and hopefully there's 50 yards attached to it. You can get 11 or 12 points out of your flex guy. This is a flex guy I'm looking at.
Okay, so that's your flex, and then we're going to go to running back and wide receiver after that.
Yeah, so then you might as well go Godwin, Palmer, and I'm going Najee.
All right. All right, Alan. All right, guys. My team is pretty solid. Would you make any changes to my lineup? Would you play Stevenson over a chain? So lineup there. Pay attention to Lawrence. Go ahead.
Alan, I think you're going to have to play Kyler if Lawrence doesn't go. At least you're getting the rush yards. He's got weapons. They're going to have to. I think Chicago's going to be able to move the ball, so at least you're going to have him being involved. And I don't think handing off the ball too much. So it all depends. Much like everything on a Friday night right now, it seems like it's Trevor Lawrence. A lot of things are hinging on him. Looking at your running backs, I think you got to keep Achane in there.
Yeah, Stevenson's out.
Hill's going to play. I like your Goddard in there. I wish you would have put Puka at wide receiver and somebody else at flex like Hill in case Hill didn't play. I'm going to keep it. I don't love CD Lamb, but they're going to need to use him. But I think if Miami's going to key in on somebody, he's going to be the one. And he's been on fire, so you can't sit him. I think you have the right team.
All right. Kincaid, McBride, or Hawkinson, Dynasty. And would you play any of these over Addison?
I think I'm going to keep going with McBride. I think Hawkinson he's been the most consistent, but McBride is going to give you the biggest upside, I think. Would I play any over Addison? We're looking at last week's stats here, I think. That's why you're asking so much about Addison. If you could play McBride and Hawkinson, I'm doing it.
All right. That's next one here. I think that's what he's saying. He could play both of those. He'll take Addison probably out of the flex. All right. Colts or Browns defense?
Going with the Browns. I've been saying it for weeks. Colts at home is a defense that you want to play. Colts on the road, not so much.
All right. Next one here. Jets defense he has rostered or Broncos or Eagles. And then he posted pictures, which it looks like is the waiver wire of who's out there.
Yeah, I think I said the Broncos.
I believe you said the Broncos as well.
At home, night game. There's always a turnover. A lot of times a defensive TD. It's going to be some snow on the ground. Go with the Broncos.
All right. San Francisco defense or Denver defense?
See, this is the one. It seems like it should be a no-brainer layup. You got to play San Francisco, but I think that the Ravens are going to be able to move the ball. Doesn't mean San Francisco's not going to get a bunch of sacks, maybe an interception, maybe a fumble recovery. Based on the rest of your matchup, David, and I see that you're with us live now, you got to make the decision. Do you need something more safe or do you need more of a Hail Mary? Luckily, this is a Monday night game and a Sunday night game, so you can make that decision. If you need, I think, a Hail Mary, I'm going with Denver at home against New England. If you just need something a little more safe, you got a really nice lead after all the games, and your gut tells you San Francisco, then I'm fine with that. But I do think they give up a lot more points than Denver's going to.
All right, Marty with one here. Choose one, Waller, Freiermuth, or Everett.
Yeah, you got to go with Freiermuth just because they're playing against the Bengals who can't stop tight end over the past month and a half, 2 months. I'm not trusting Waller his first game back. Everett, yeah, it is going to be a ton of garbage time, but they have like 2 or 3 other tight ends and also other little wide receivers they're going to throw the ball to. They're trying to get Isaiah Spiller more involved. Did anybody notice that he had like 16 carries last week? Nobody even noticed that.
Dude. You know, it's funny. Mike picked him up in Dynasty right before, just in case. He's like, you know what? I have an extra. We have to keep 15. I was like, I'm not at 15 yet. I feel like Spiller's gonna come on, especially with
Yeah,
Eckler sucking it up.
yeah.
It's a good
I'm
move.
going with Fryermuth though.
All
The
right, next one
easiest one.
here. You answer this one, but going back to it, John, with the question here: tie or T PPR flex?
Yeah, I think that if Madison doesn't play, I'm going with Ty Chandler.
All right, Spencer with one here. Oh,
I answered that
Ferguson or
pretty much.
Goddard?
I like Goddard, but I'm fine with Ferguson. You got to go with your gut on this one, Spencer.
All right, Chris with one here: Kelsey or Laporta?
I do have a strange feeling about Kelsey this week. He's been down. I've talked about it all year, ever since the very beginning, that I thought that he was going to start to decline. We are witnessing the decline. I also mentioned right before she went on her tour that whenever she's at the games, he plays well. When she's not there, he doesn't play well. She went on her world tour and he hasn't been doing crap.
Yeah,
Um,
missing his girl.
I do think Laporta scores, but I have sort of a weird feeling that Kelsey's going to have a little bit of a resurgence in this one going against Oakland. I'm going to go Kelsey.
All right, Las Vegas. That was
What
the
did I
first time
say?
I did it this year. Oakland.
They are always Oakland to me.
What's up there, Mikey? I'll look at your thing here and read what you have in a minute. We'll get to some live comments in a sec. All right, Timothy, 2 wide receiver spots and a flex. JJ, Addison, Godwin, Pittman, or Deontay Johnson need to make up for Kamara and Hill last night.
I'm going to go with JJ. And I think I'm going to go with Pittman. You know, he's back. He's healthy. So there's my 2 wide receivers. I got to flex another one of these guys. I know that you're going to say Deontay. I get it with Mason. I just think that they're going to just try and run. Deontay's fine. He's probably safe. But I might just go with both Vikings, JJ and Addison and Pittman.
Yeah, that's going to be an interesting game. It's indoors. Both Mullins played good last week too, I thought, man.
Yeah.
All right. Chris with another one
He had
here.
something else on there. He had a quarterback.
Oh, I'm sorry. I got Murray at quarterback and Gibbs in running back 2. Also Bills or Indy D. I'm sorry. Bills or Indy's D.
I'm going with the Bills.
I agree. Indy on the road. All right. Chris with a question here. Need a QB, Mullins, Browning, Geno, or Lawrence if he plays?
I'm going to go with Geno. I don't love it, but I think that's what I'm going to do. It's Lawrence if he plays, because you can throw all over Tampa Bay. But if Lawrence doesn't play, yeah, Mullins was fine last week. He does look like he just went 10 rounds, though. His face is swole. I think that the Browning game is just going to be slow and ground heavy. So I'm probably going to go with Geno. He hasn't been good, but I'm going to go with Geno if Lawrence doesn't play. It sounds gross, tastes gross coming out of my mouth, but I think that's what I'm going to do.
Yeah, safe not sorry. All right, Chris with another one here. Full PPR, 1 running back, 1 flex. Taylor, a chain, Bijan, Chandler, T. Higgins, Michael Pittman. Thanks in advance.
It's the riskiest of all risky. But I'm going to go Bijan at running back. If I'm wrong, if you don't like it, don't do it. You got to go with your gut, Chris. But I just feel like they hear the noise about his misusage, his underusage last week. They're just going to rely heavy on him this week. I like JT. I get the A-Chan, but you still got to deal with Mostert. Chandler's probably the safest out of them. So if Madison doesn't go, I'm going to go Bijan and Chandler.
All right. This is where I have to make my screen bigger. All right. Spencer had a roster update. Throw in Singletary over ETN or Jones. Pollard scares him. So left is starting. So is middle, and then bench on right. He apologizes. Kids plus Christmas with fantasy football playoffs equals mental clinic. Dude, I am there as well, friend.
This is that same team we looked at before.
I'm not sure. I feel like yes is my answer. Oh yeah, because he had Nico on in IR and he picked up Singletary, if I'm not mistaken.
I mean, I'm looking at a starting lineup, and it's fine to me. So if that's how you have it set, I like it. I'm fine with it.
All right, Jessica.
Except for Trevor Lawrence again. You just gotta watch it. I mean, if Flacco's going to be your go-to after, and he's the best available, then that has to be what it is. I don't love it, but if that's what's there, then that's what you got to do.
Yeah, and I think he was saying Minshew was an option at one point. I think that was one of the questions as well.
I said Minshew.
Yep. All right, Jessica with a question here. Gentlemen, lineup advice. Do I keep Mayfield in over Lamar?
I'm going to say no. I think you play Lamar. It's going to be an unpopular decision, unpopular call. But I'm not. Nobody in the world, Rob, you can attest to this, and people that have been with us, this is our 8th season. I don't know, aside from maybe his mother. I don't know if he has a girlfriend. I don't know, a wife, whatever. Nobody's bigger Baker fan than me. I absolutely love what he's doing this year. I think he needs to stay there. I think they need to sign him. He's better than Tom Brady was last year for the Bucs. That is a fact. Last week was incredible against my favorite team, the Green Bay Packers, and I loved every second of it. But I'm not stat chasing. I'm not looking at last week was the game of the year, perfect passer rating, best game of his career, best game of anybody's career, it would have been, and saying I have to play him. I get it. Lamar's playing against the Niners, but I think Lamar, this is going to be a statement game for him. And I don't think if Trevor Lawrence does not play, then you need to play Lamar. If Trevor Lawrence plays, my attitude changes a little bit because I think Baker will need to throw a little bit more. But if it's Mr. Beathard, they're just going to run Rachaad White into the sunset. They'll have some passes, but it's going to be run, run, run. Use a little bit of passing. I'm going Lamar over Baker. Unpopular, I'm sure. We'll see how it winds up. But that's what my feeling is.
All right, she goes, and should I bench anyone, possibly Cortland Sutton, to get Kenneth Walker in?
I don't think so, because we don't know if Walker's going to play. He might sit. This might be another Zach Charbonnet game. And also on top of that, Tennessee is very hard to run against, especially when they're at home. I think it's good. They're going to have to pass the ball, which is kind of why I like Geno. Whoever that was before, I said I would go with Geno, especially if Lawrence is out. And the last thing, you can read the last thing.
DJ Moore is intriguing, and as well as Gus Bus, but Niners D.
I would play DJ Moore over Cortland Sutton.
Yeah, against Arizona, I agree. I would play that as well.
Or, based on what I've been saying, Mike Evans.
If Lawrence doesn't play.
That's right. Yes. But I kind of like Mike Evans a little more than Cortland Sutton. Because I feel like Belichick, that's who he's going to key in on.
Yeah.
Sutton. Yeah, so I'm going to go with DJ Moore over Sutton.
All right. Jason with one here. Zeke, Bijan, JT, Connor. Pick 2.
I think I kind of said I'm playing Bijan. Last week, I don't want to repeat it anymore. I think they're going to learn. and I'm going Bijan. So for me, it comes down to Zeke and JT. I think they're both going to be workhorses for their teams. Zeke's got the easier matchup, I guess. I'm going to go with Zeke in the snow.
Ooh, I like it.
I know.
All right, Antonio got a bunch. Hold on. Oh, crap. Pressed the wrong button. All right, Antonio. Hi, friends. Merry Christmas. Merry Christmas to you too, bud. I have some work for you. All PPR. First one, Sutton, Reed, Connor. Need one.
We don't even know if Reed's going to play.
Mm-hmm.
If Reed plays, it's still tough because it's hard to throw. He does get the runs. I'm going to go. The answer is probably Connor.
I think the answer is Connor, just based on volume. All right, next one. Cowboys, Packers, Broncos, Texans, and Seahawks.
Out of all those, I'm going to go with the Broncos.
I agree. All right. B League, Henry, Eckler, Connor, DJ Moore, Pittman, Ayuk, and Hopkins. Needs 5.
Isn't there 5 there?
No, there's 7. That's count. I'm like 1, 2, 3.
Yeah.
Oh,
DJ Moore, definitely. I'm going to Ayuk. I play Pittman. So those 3 for sure. I just don't know if I could trust Eckler. It's like they've given up on him. Henry. He went Connor in the other league, so I'm going to bench him. Let's get the 4 wide receivers in there and Henry.
All right. C, Jones, Ford, Singletary, Elliott. Need 2.
Let's go with it. Oh, Singletary. Let's go with Singletary. I don't love it. I don't love it. It sounded wrong. Elliott and Aaron Jones.
All right. Texans, Commanders, or Packers defense.
Gross. So gross. Texans just because they're at home going against Joe Flacco.
I agree. And then he says, thank you very much. I'm in the semis in my 3 leagues for the second straight year. Woo!
Nice.
Good job, bud.
Antonio.
Thanks for tuning in, man. All right. Remember, guys, that merch is always there. 25 for a t-shirt, 45 for a hoodie. Want to show them? Woo!
Yep. All right.
All right.
I think we're up to Scott.
Yes, sir. Let me remove that. Let me flip the script. Make it legit. Comments up to Scott. Hello there, Scott. He was mentioning the Giants. Are you messing with me, man? You had mentioned this already about the Giants. What's up there, Fantasy Football Wizard of Odds? Merry Christmas to you, bud. All right.
Merry Christmas.
Best guess on playoff winning kicker.
Somebody that's inside that plays for a pretty good offense that isn't amazing. I mean, are you looking for one? Show me your waiver wire. Go to the group on Facebook and post your waiver wire.
All right, David.
If I had to pick one, I'm going to pick what the heck? I can't think of his name. He's my favorite. The Eagles kicker. I love him.
Jake Elliott.
There you go. Yep.
All right, David Rios, Harris or Zamir White?
I think Jacobs is going to play, so I'm going to go with Najee.
All right. Scott with a question here. Colts, Broncos, Bears D this week. Dude, Bears D has been – you called it, man. They've been really good.
Yeah. Yeah, I do. The Broncos have the best matchup. There's forecasts of snow. It's a night game. There's always crazy stuff that happens, like returns or defensive TDs. I'm going with the Broncos here.
All right. Mikey says, just got home from work, just made a post tag guessing it. Has my lineup. Just want to see if you make any changes to win this week, and I'm in the championship. All right, guess. Do you mind looking at it afterwards for him?
Yeah.
All right. What's up, guys? Merry Christmas. What's up to you too there, Mikey? Nate with the
Merry
question.
Christmas.
Nate with a question here. With Chargers having new coach, do you think they go back to Eckler or do they continue with run by committee?
Uh, I'm not sure it was the coach. Um, the only thing that changed, I mean, they've had the same head coach. The only thing that changed was the offensive coordinator when they got Kellen Moore. And I think it's Eckler. I just think he's got a case of the OLD. And, he had the injury. And the older you get, the longer it takes you to recover. It seems like maybe he's not fully recovered. They're not using him in the passing game. Unless the head coach comes in and starts bossing Kellen Moore around, which an interim head coach, I doubt that they're going to do that. I think at this point in time, they are pretty much saying Eckler is a free agent next year. Let's see what we have with Isaiah Spiller, because we know we have with Joshua Kelly, and it's nothing great. So they're going to finally give Spiller a shot. It's not going to matter because they're going to have to throw the ball this week. I think that the Eckler career is ending rather rapidly, and I don't think that the coach. I don't think they ever went away from Eckler, so to speak. He just wasn't doing much, and last week game was out of control. Let's get this other guy in here that we never use, that I liked heading into last year and this year. He didn't look great, but they gave him a ton of burn. So if anything, I think that continues, where they continue to give Spiller some burn. But again, the Bills are going to run all over him. So I think if you're looking for an Eckler bounce back this week, unless he finds a fountain of youth somewhere in Los Angeles, I don't know if it's going to happen. You can run on the Bills, so it's possible. And maybe Easton Stick shows up in the first half. They got screwed last week. They didn't get screwed. They screwed themselves. They fumbled like 3 times in the first quarter, and it led to it was like 21, 28 nothing in the first quarter, something like that.
Yep.
So they screwed themselves. If they don't fumble, then we're not even talking about a 63-21 game. We're probably talking about something
Thursday game, man.
Probably something that's like 33-30, a much closer game. But they were out of it before the second quarter even started because of the fumbles. So maybe they do keep it close against the Bills. I don't see it.
All right. Sterny Magic. What's up there, bud? Make sure you subscribe. Roshan, Chase Brown, or Donta Foreman. Full PPR.
If I have to pick one, I'm not picking between Roshan and Donta. I'll tell you that much. And we loved Chase Brown back in week 11. Coming off the IR, we loved him in the preseason as well. He was a raw bonus in the 5 guys for your eyes when we were talking about the AFC North. And they're using him more and more. He is, speaking of Eckler, he is the new Eckler. All you got to do is just watch him. You put him in a Charger uniform, he looks just like Austin Eckler out there. I'm going with him because I think that game, I've said it over and over tonight. I'm a freaking broken record tonight, I feel like, Rob. The Bengals Steelers game is a ground game, just slow, drawn out. I could be wrong. It's just how I feel it's going to be. Mixon, Chase Brown, Jalen Warren, Najee Harris. There will be some stuff in the air, but it's going to be mostly these guys. And so I'm going Chase Brown. His usage just continues to be relevant usage. And then Cortland Sutton or Chris Godwin.
Yep.
What a great question, because there's 2 guys that I've been a little bit down on in this one, and nothing against them, just against the matchup. Cortland Sutton, I think, will be Belichick's target. And Godwin, I think that, the past couple of weeks he's been blowing up ever since he was the squeaky wheel. He got the grease. But they're not going to have to throw the ball too much if Trevor Lawrence doesn't play. So Trevor Lawrence plays, I'm going to go Chris Godwin. Trevor Lawrence doesn't play, I'm going Courtland Sutton.
All right, Tim, just got off work, just made it here. Appreciate you tuning in, man, always.
Welcome.
What up, fellas? Happy to catch a live feed. Some of the best football minds I've ever seen around. Appreciate that, man. Since I started doing a Rob guest, Merry Christmas to you and your family. Same to you, man. Always appreciate you, like I said, tuning in, dude.
Means all right.
Nate with one here. Embarrassment of riches here. 10-man, half PPR. White, Gibbs, Eckler, Walker, Mostert, McKinnon. Pick 3. Whoa.
White, Gibbs, and Mostert.
That's names, though.
Yeah. Well, Eckler, we just talked
about. Yep.
Walker might not play. McKinnon might not play. Mostert's going to fall into the end zone at least once. Gibbs is going to be involved throughout the game. We said it during the game last week. We were in the ABG chat because I think it was Michael, to play Gibbs over ETN last week. I was like, you got to play Gibbs. And they weren't using him the first couple drives, and then as soon as they put him in, touchdown. It's like, use Gibbs, score points. And it's not going to be that much this week, I don't think, but he's going to be involved. And White, it's going to be the whole game. So White, Gibbs, Mostert. That was easy.
All right, David, one here. Purdy or Mahomes this week?
Excuse me. It's wrong, but I'm going to go Mahomes.
I like it. I think Mahomes, you're right. The numbers are there. It's funny. I was kind of looking at some of the stuff that you were talking about, and you're right. He's up there in all those categories. Imagine if they actually catch the effing ball. Imagine if they catch the ball, what his stats would look like.
At home against the Raiders, I feel like Kelsey's going to have a little bit of a renaissance in this one. Pacheco's back. I just feel like they could run up the score on the Raiders. Just let out some frustrations. I'm going to go Mahomes. Probably feels dirty, but I'm going Mahomes.
Oh, I thought you were going to rhyme it. No, it feels dirty. That's why I'm benching Purdy. All right. All right. I love Baker. I was happy when we drafted him and felt Browns did him dirty. The first ever graded card I bought was his rookie and Stars rookie, and I will never sell that card. Yeah, right. Dude. Yeah, you're 100% correct, dude.
You did.
All right, Scott with one here. Broncos or Jets defense in another league?
Honestly, don't think you can go wrong, but because the Broncos offense is better than the Jets offense, because the Broncos are playing in a night game where there's magic that occurs and there's going to be snow, I'm going to go with the Broncos because they're also playing against a worse offense, I think.
All right. David with another one here. Noah Brown, Josh Palmer, or Walker. Pick one, PPR.
I'm going to go with Joshua Palmer. I think he's going to catch a ton of balls.
But the fact that it's PPR, I agree with you. Joshua Palmer
was choking.
My choice. Are you all right? As well, just because he may not have the yards, to be honest with you. He may have 8 catches for 43 yards, but the catches is what makes it or breaks it.
And he gets a lot of rack, too, or yak.
All right, Scott with one here. Ridley, Hopkins, or Garrett Wilson. He needs 2 of them. Does it depend on WB because all QBs are up in the air? Insane.
Yeah. I think you got to go Hopkins and
Wilson, yeah. I agree.
And there's no Zay Jones probably also as well, so that's going to hurt Ridley even more.
All right. Nate, no problem, man. Merry Christmas to you, too. Scott, Merry Christmas, bud. David, Merry Christmas to you guys. Mikey, Look at Rhyme Master Rob.
Yeah.
Hey, when the beers start flowing, the Guess and I start going on those raps. So.
When the beers start flowing, we start flowing.
Oh yeah. That's happened more than one occasion.
Yes. This is true.
All right, guys. I think we're gonna call it quits, guess.
Yeah, I'm ready. Enjoy the games tomorrow. Enjoy the games Sunday. Enjoy the games Monday. Triple header Monday. That should be fun. Have a Merry Christmas. Merry Christmas, Nate, Scott, David, Mikey, everybody, YouTube people, Facebook people. We are going to be super busy. I'm going to be super busy. I'm speaking for you, but I'm just imagining. We got little kids. We got wives. We got families. We got places to go, people to see. If you post something and we don't answer it, I'm going to apologize in advance. Sorry. This is a tough football weekend at the same exact time as Christmas weekend. It's dicey.
But yeah, you're 100% right. But you know what, guys? You're an ABG fam. You guys help each other out. That's what we do love about this as well. It's not going to always be our answers, but you know what? There are plenty of guys out there that know enough to be able to help you out as well. So, as we see here, Merry Christmas to you guys. Merry Christmas to the ABG fam. And the best of luck if you are in those playoffs still. Let's make it to the championship, guys.
Do it.
All right. Answers by guess. Peace.
See you.